Coming up on today's show, co-host and Paralympian Nathan Clement shares his personal experience from the 2024 Paralympic Games. Plus, we share a few interviews that I gathered on the ground at the CNIB Nova Scotia Open Goalball Tournament. All that and more to come on today's show.
Welcome to Parasport Nation with Alex Smyth and Nathan Clement.
Hello and welcome. This is Parasport Nation. I'm your host, Alex Smyth, and I want to formally welcome in the co-host of this podcast, my partner in crime, Nathan Clement. Now, he has many titles to his name. Some of them range from two-sport Paralympian to Paralympic silver medalist in cycling to three-time world champion. Nathan, which one do you like the most?
I just love the title of being a Paralympian. That is the greatest honor an athlete can hold as a person with disability, and it's a very unique, beautiful class. And I'm just excited to do this with you, Alex, and do this with this amazing team of people we got here. So I'm excited to talk parasport and share this beautiful world that we have.
Yeah, so speaking of the Paralympian side of things, it's been a few months now since things have wrapped up in Paris. When you reflect on that time, on winning your first Paralympic medal, what feelings, emotions come flooding through for you?
Still to this day, I'll be having moments where I'm walking down the street or I'm on my bike and I just get this hit of euphoria. I get this hit of joy, often a lot similar to what I felt like when I actually won the medal in early September. And it's just a gratefulness and just a real appreciation for the journey and the highs and the lows of what it takes to be a Paralympian, let alone a Paralympic medalist. And in the last couple months since I've won the medal, I've been fortunate enough to do a bunch of events and seeing kids' reactions, seeing other people's reaction to me having the medal is often how I felt when I was a kid, when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and seeing these Olympians, seeing these Paralympians, seeing these NHL players or people in other sports too, and just really knowing now that I have an opportunity to give back, to let kids feel the same emotions I felt. And it's just been real special, just celebrating with my mom, celebrating with my dad, and celebrating with the people closest to me who've made this possible through selfless sacrifice to get to this point and get to this level.
Now, speaking of some of those events post-game, those also include another round of World Championships that took place in September. You came in first in both the individual time trial and road race. Is this the best stretch of your career?
It has to be right now. It has been such a whirlwind to go from the high of the Paralympic silver and then try to find that next level going into a World Championships like that. I was just very lucky. I had teammates like Alex Hayward who dominated and did quite well in Paris. And then he went in to Zurich and to our World Championships and took it to another level too. And having like people like that inspired me and fueled me in what is an incredible stretch, and a stretch I am so grateful for right now.
Now, you do mention the motivation factor and keeping that momentum going. I always, whenever I'm talking to athletes, I always like to kind of find out, how do they build momentum? How do they keep it rolling? Especially when you get success on some of these other competitions that you can then bring into a major competition like a Paralympics or a World Championship. How important is that to you? Does it actually make a difference for you when you are competing? Or is it just something that, guys in the sports media space like to kind of bring up and talk about as a thing of value for the athletes?
Momentum and just the motion and movement can play a huge hand in just your confidence in your feeling, and the forbidden word of the yips too. And if you're in a situation that's not going great, but more important is that community, is that team you have around you, because often if you have the right people around you, it can uplift you. It can help change you from being in the rut, or also help you reset, refocus after a great high, after a great feat, gets you back down to earth, gets you refocused in, gets you redialed in. So momentum and a lot of previous results can play a hand, but it's that sense of community. And often there's one moment I really always look back to was at the Toronto 2015 Pan Am Games. I was a part of the swim team then. Nicholas Guy Turbide got a gold medal in one of the first races at the games, and just hearing that crowd's noise and just hearing the roar when he touched that wall, and when we heard "O Canada" being sung by 5,000 people in that pool, started that momentum, started that hunger for every single athlete there. So it's that momentum, but it's also what happens when your teammates go out there, when your teammates succeed, and they're just there for you in the highs, but also in the lows too. And that just camaraderie is even a bigger factor than often what's made apparent by talking about momentum, talking about a slump an athlete's been in or a hot streak. It's how your team supports you, but also how you support your team.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I also expect to, when you're experiencing that, the buzz of, having real success at these high level competitions, and for yourself with back-to-back competitions and Paralympics to World Championships, when do you get to catch your breath? Like, when is the downtime for you, and how are you taking advantage of that?
I think for me, I'm someone who, I love conversation. I love talking, I love chatting, and I love like hearing people's stories. So for myself, this time right now where I've been off the bike and I'm getting back onto the bike, I'm easing into training, I'm easing into the cycle again, and hopefully going for LA in 2028, body willing, of course. But just being able to hear and see the successes of other athletes is really reassuring to me and really helping me go through a flow, but also that reality too of there's a lot of work to do, but also just being very appreciative of this time is really good for me and really helping me get that downturn, getting that mental reset and letting all the emotion, all the celebration out. So when it's time to get back to work, when it's time to do what I need to do and hopefully future competitions, I'm going to be mentally set and mentally ready to go.
And when you say ease in, like, what is that looking like for you? Because to me, an ease in would be, just a quick couple, K on a bike. I'm sure it's a different level for you as a Paralympian.
It's almost like that too, where depending on the day, the last week, in late October, I have gone out on the bike ride with no little computer, no little tracking program or tracking software at all. So my coach actually sent me an email a couple last week asking if I'm actually training, and I'm just going out there for fun, whether it's 2K kilometers or if it's a 50-kilometer ride. I just want to get out and have fun, appreciate the sights, the scenery, a lot of places that I hadn't been to in a while, because leading into a Paralympics and even post the Paralympic Games, I had a World Championships, as we've spoken about. So I was away from home for a long period of time. And even my training building into the games was very specialized, was very focused in certain aspects of the city. So this time right now has been really nice for me just to go on easy, nice bike rides, seeing a lot of the sites, seeing a lot of the places where I live in Vancouver that I hadn't been able to in the last little while.
Well, that's great to know that, in this point of time where you're just easing things back in, I could actually keep up with you and do a 2 or 5 kilometer bike ride. I can manage that. That's fine for me. It's when you get into the double, triple digits, that's when it gets too much. But Nathan, as part of the kind of enjoying the downtime, trying out different things, you are co-hosting this podcast with me. I'm super excited and passionate about all things parasport. I know you are, but what are you most looking forward to in working together on this podcast, and what kind of stories like you want to really explore?
I'm really excited about the personal impact stories, as you and I have had the privilege of being on a couple other AMI programs in the past and really been able to talk about a lot of different para athletes and a lot of the people in this sporting world. And for you and I both, we know people. We know these athletes, we see their successes, we see their highs, and it's such a privilege and it's such an honor to be able to share their successes and be able to show who they are as a person, not just the athlete, not just the person we see on all these major networks or at these games, that the human aspect of everything is a lot of fun. And plus, there's some great stories, there's some great spots a lot of sports get to go to, and just being able to give the viewers the chance just to see what goalball is like, to see what wheelchair rugby is like, to see, as we enter the Winter Paralympic cycle, Nordic skiing, meet the people there, but also para ice hockey too, as that is going to be a very competitive field in the next couple of years. So it's really exciting just to be able to share these stories and share their personalities behind the scenes.
Oh, absolutely. Going from the high performance to the grassroots and everything in between. We are going to explore it all. And speaking of Goalball as the perfect teaser and transition point, segueing into our next set of interviews, because this past weekend I was actually able to be on the ground calling the plays for the bronze medal and gold medal matches of the CNIB Nova Scotia Goalball Open Tournament. It was a phenomenal event, tons of action. I had a chance to catch up first with Peter Parsons. He is a person I've worked with for a few years now. He is the chair of Blind Sports Nova Scotia. He was the organizer of this event, and he was also playing as a member of the Nova Scotia seniors team that won gold. Let's take a listen to my interview with him. So first off, Peter, congratulations on the gold medal at the 2024 Nova Scotia CNIB Nova Scotia Goalball Open Championship. How are you feeling after the big win?
I'm feeling really good after the big win. I have kind of mixed feelings because the Nova Scotia juniors who we just beat are all kids that I got involved with goalball and coached from the beginning. And so we played a really close 10-8 game with them yesterday. I kind of hope for a closer game in that gold medal game. So I kind of feel for my boys a little bit, right? Like I know Harry, I was just talking to Harry Nickerson. He's a little disappointed. And so it's kind of bittersweet, but it was overall a really good tournament. So I'm really happy about it.
Now, in this tournament, you wore multiple hats. Not only were you a player, you're also the chair of Blind Sports Nova Scotia that was putting on this event. You were organizing this event. How would you kind of grade the event overall, and just from the start to the finish, from the exhibition games yesterday to the coaching clinic or referee clinic to the gold and bronze medal games today? How would you rate the overall experience and weekend?
Yeah, I'd rate it high. If I were to give it a letter, definitely an A, because like you said, the referee clinic was successful. We now have 3 new certified refs from Nova Scotia. And the tournament as a whole, we had a lot of close games with the exception of that gold medal game, like I said, unfortunately. But it was really good to have Ontario here. We had Raki Karim from Quebec here. Hopefully we'll get Quebec as a province next year, the provincial team. But yeah, it's always good getting together with the guys. We kind of have like a goalball family, and so it's always good getting together, competing. And there's not enough goalball tournaments. There's not enough competition opportunities. That's why back in 2015, I thought to start this tournament in the fall, because usually the first one of the season is the Montreal Open, which is the one we have next at the end of January. So, we've had success. Hopefully we can get more teams to come to the tournament next year. I'm trying to work on that. So.
And why did you want to include the referee clinic? Like, why wasn't that an important element to include in this weekend's competition?
Well, after we hosted nationals back in May, I had actually one of the volunteers who is a Dalhousie master's student, and she asked me, how do you become a goalball ref? And then I already had one of the kids I coach, his dad, interested in becoming a goalball ref. So I thought, I have 2 people already interested. We got a third and put on the referee clinic. Now when we host the tournament in the future, we probably will just bring next year Fred Patenaude, who's been the head ref for every tournament we've had since the beginning. We'd probably just bring him in from out of town, which saves some money for us as well, because we'll have enough refs in Nova Scotia, because we have like 5 refs now that are certified in Nova Scotia, plus Fred, that would be 6. That'd be enough for the whole tournament. And so getting those refs, they'll come out to practice as well to keep up their skills, and it's just great to have certified refs from Nova Scotia.
Now, I'm curious, because Nova Scotia has really been a leader in the grassroots goalball scene. What do you attribute that to? Is there something particular about the geography and the interest in playing the sport? Or is it the hard work that you and other volunteers and other compassionate and focused kind of leaders are doing to make sure that this sport grows in this province?
It has to be the hard work and the passion amongst us. We're 100% volunteer with Blind Sports Nova Scotia. I know other blind sports organizations, a lot of PSOs, provincial sports organizations across the country that have multiple paid staff. and we have more goalball players than most of them, and we have a fraction of the population. And so I definitely credit to that. I started working for APSI, the Atlantic Provinces Special Education Authority, back 10 years ago now. And when I started working for APSI, a lot of the kids that I would teach as an orientation mobility specialist, I recruited into playing goalball. And it's been great for them to have a competitive sport to compete in, but all the benefits that come with the team sport, the social, the confidence, the travel, it's been like a lot of really good things coming of it. Even parents connecting with each other when we're on trips with the kids. And so it's been, a lot, and a lot of those parents have are on our board and volunteer. Like, we had a couple of parents, Christine, Nick and Matt's mom, taking care of the food out there, along with Kathy Tara Soller, who was playing in the rec and the women's exhibition game. So we have, Alexis Nickerson, Harry's mom. So everybody's really involved. And Linda McCray-Triff, who's our head coach, she does a lot. Like, she's retired, and I don't know what we'd do without her, but yeah, I really like to see us get some funding, get a paid position within Blind Sports Nova Scotia, and I think that will come in the future as we continue to build and grow.
And lastly, for you, how does the success of a weekend like this kind of inform the program going forward, and what you see as next steps to continue to grow this sport in the region?
Yeah, I think it's huge. Like, we've had a lot of kids out watching. Just before I went on the court for the gold medal game, one of the kids I coach on Thursday night said hi to me, and he was watching this game. He's a 12-year-old kid, and I just introduced him to my teammate Nick, and Nick said hi to him, and Nick was 12 years old when he started playing goalball. And I said, yeah, Nick, Leo plays in the Thursday night program, and I told Leo, Nick started playing when he was your age. Now he's my teammate. And so, if I'm a 12-year-old kid, I'm getting excited to play. And same thing with with Harry and Griffin and Matt and Edward. All those juniors, they were playing in exhibition games in this tournament like 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. And now they're like highly competitive in the men's tournament.
Peter, thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was Peter Parsons, the chair of Blind Sports Nova Scotia, the organizer of the CNIB Nova Scotia Goalball Open Tournament, and the gold medalist as part of Team Nova Scotia Senior. Another member of his team had quite an interesting story, because he was actually retired for several years, but he got the call to join up with the senior team as a fill-in, try practicing with them, and he ended up coming out of the competition with a gold medal. Here is my interview with Oliver Pye. Oliver, first off, congratulations on winning the gold medal here at the tournament.
Thank you very much.
Why did you want to come out of retirement and come and play in this tournament? You've had a long career, but you also had a long absence from the game. So why did you want to come back, and why did you want to come back for this game?
Well, mostly, I was living in the U.S. for a couple of years. I come back to Nova Scotia for a while, and Linda and Peter mentioned that they have some injuries, and so I just wanted to go and see how the program actually is developing. And as you can see, we have some great players here. So I thought I'd have a couple of practices before this tournament and just give it a shot to play in it, so it gives them an extra athlete to use throughout the tournament. So.
And I mean, that practice paid off. You have a gold medal around your neck. I noticed early on in the game, it seemed like you were getting targeted by some of the Nova Scotia juniors. They were trying to see just how rusty you may have been. But how did you feel when you started getting the shots your way early on and responded to that?
to start, I do have a 20-year career in the sport, and over the years, I used to look after myself really good. I'm a massage therapist as well, so there's a routine I do: sports roller, lacrosse ball, take out all the tight muscle tissue before going into a game, and nice stretch and warm up. I was good to go, and my body felt really great.
Well, you looked great out there. I'm curious, because you've had such a long career within goalball, what does it mean to you to come to a competition like this and see that there's multiple generations of athletes that are coming up through the ranks in the Nova Scotia scene, that you're not only having a handful of athletes who are making a name for themselves, but you got these exhibition games, you got these younger players coming up, they're making a name for themselves, developing their skills. That's got to be pretty kind of exciting for you to kind of witness and be a part of.
Very much so. It is. It's super great to see, Peter, Linda, and everyone involved to take these kids, when they're really young, give them a program, they stick to it. And Nova Scotia goalball athletes have a very, very bright future, not only for our province, but pretty much most of these guys have the capability to take their dream to the next level in playing for Team Canada. Yeah.
And so what's next for you? Did this win kind of give you a bit of a fire to come back and explore the sport a bit more? Or are you looking at retirement once again?
Well, I'm here, for a while in Nova Scotia. I don't mind coming out to practices and playing. If they do need somebody again, I'll be here. But I do also play hockey that I'm committed to as well. So.
You're a busy man, and you have lots of sports going on. Oliver, thank you so much, and congrats once again.
Oh, great. Thank you very much for having me.
That was Oliver Pye, gold medal winning player as part of the Nova Scotia senior team at the Goalball tournament. And lastly, this was a really fascinating storyline. You had a pair of brothers squaring off against each other in the gold medal match. You had Nick Gentleman playing for the Nova Scotia senior team and Matt Gentleman playing for the juniors. I caught up with both of them to see how they felt after the game. So, Nick, Matt, thank you both for taking the time to chat with me. Nick, I'm going to start with you. Congratulations on the gold medal win. It was a hard-fought match. How did it feel to go up against your brother in the gold medal match?
Well, you know what? It's fun. Matt and I have grown up fighting over food in the kitchen their whole lives, so it's funny when we get to play each other in a big game like this in front of all the goalball people out east. So it was cool, and you can look at the scoreboard now and say whatever, but trust me, Matt's beaten me many a time. So you roll with the punches, and I'm sure he's going to beat me again here real shortly.
Well, yeah, now there's going to be a bit of motivation to beat you next time.
Absolutely.
So Matt, take me through, how do you feel going through this competition? Obviously, ending up with a silver medal is nothing to balk at, but how did you feel going into that gold medal match, knowing you're going to face off against your brother in the senior team?
Well, I felt bad for him. He's always struggled, and I was like, all right, I can't let him, lose. He would be in bed for months on end. Oh, it'd be terrible. So I figured, let him win,
Yeah.
No, but in all seriousness, it's great. It's been so long for me to, catch up to the fella. He was taller than me than by 8 inches for, years and years and years. And so I'm just glad that, I can share the court with him at this point in my life, but yeah.
I was going to say, it's rare that I'm usually the shortest person in an interview, but both of you guys are towering over me. I'm curious, though, because, Nick, the juniors, they scored first. They looked like they had some momentum going. Were you at all concerned, you and your team, that oh no, this may be the game that they beat us?
You know what? In our previous game in the round robin, we had a rough start. They were up 5-2 or something 5 minutes in. So we had a timeout. We adjusted our system defensively, and we were able to claw back into that game, eventually win it. And today we just kind of stuck with the same philosophy, and it worked out in our favor.
And so, Matt, for you, what lesson do you and your team take away from this? Obviously, it wasn't the result you wanted. It was a mercy rule end to the game. But there were positives. There were times where you guys were really building momentum in the game. So what do you take away? How do you build on it going forward?
Well, you can't be, collapsing like that in the middle of the game. So I think a lot of that comes with the experience, the old guys. We young guys, we came out firing, and I think that led to some of our earlier leads there. But then you get cocky, you get up, you're like, all right, we're good here. But you're never really good when you're facing competition like these cats. They've been doing it for years. They're going to do it for years longer. So, just got to be ready to go at all times, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Nick, last question for you on this. I'm curious, because of the growth of the sport, you being on the senior Nova Scotia team, what does it mean to be in a competition like this where there are those multiple levels? There's this grassroots movement that's really building.
It's awesome. It's awesome. The program that Peter Parsons, Linda McRae-Triff, and many other people are building out this way is really something that other PSOs and other provincial organizations should be taking a look at and saying, how can we get to what Nova Scotia's built? Because when you look at our national team, right now we have 4 players of the 12 who are in the national team selection pool. And for a small province like that, like Nova Scotia, it's pretty impressive. And we got a lot more kids coming up in the pipeline. So having the multi-levels of competition, I was just talking to a father who I've become very good friends with, who was young. I believe his son is 9 or 10. And he just started playing goalball a couple of years ago. And I kind of told him, hey, look, this is, for an opportunity like him to come out here and, see what happens when you put in the work and you continue to get better every day. And it's a matter of, that's going to translate to that kid, hopefully, and then he's going to continue to develop and become eventually up to our level in 5 or 10 years, right? So it's that grassroots program that we're building, and also you have to look at the recreation factor of it as well. You have a lot of people, especially for disabled individuals, sometimes it's tough to live a healthier lifestyle, and you have events like this where they can come and play at a recreational level, make friends, have a good social life, and have a good recreational experience. There's no cons to it.
And Matt, last question for you. Do you see yourself and the other members of the junior team that there is opportunity to continue to grow and develop, and then eventually really fight for those senior level positions on those the provincial team, and then going forward, potentially have that opportunity on a national team in the future?
Oh, definitely. We're getting them next year. I'll say that. Yeah. You see all the progression, right? We have athletes of all generations, and it's obvious, it's clear to see how we could ourselves get to that level and gain that experience and whatnot, and be competent on a national level, international level, what have you, right? There just seems to be no end to the potential that is in this country and in this province, and I think that's great.
Perfect. Matt, Nick, thank you both so much.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy the hardware. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. It's been great chatting with you both.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Okay. And that ends our coverage of the CNIB Nova Scotia Open Goalball Tournament. But that's not the only thing that's taking place in the parasport world. Nathan Clement has all the details in the PSN update.
Now, the PSN update.
As momentum from the Paris Paralympics continue, many of Canada's summer athletes are looking to end their season on a high note before Canada's winter athletes take the baton as the spotlight shifts to the 2026 Milan Cortina Games. Nestled on the Spanish coast, Canada's Paratriathlon team sought redemption and aimed to close the 2024 season with an exclamation point at the 2024 Paratriathlon World Championships. In the men's Paratriathlon 5 classification, Calgary's Stefan Daniel claims his 6th world title and his 2nd in 3 years, winning with a remarkable 47-second lead over 2nd place. On the women's side, Paris 2024 bronze medalist Leanne Taylor wrapped up her career-best season with a 4th place finish in the Paratriathlon wheelchair category. Hopping from the Mediterranean to Scandinavia, the puck dropped for the 3rd World Para Ice Hockey Women's World Challenge as Team Norway hosted the world's best. In the tournament's opening games, Canada won its first 3 matches with victories over Great Britain, Team Europe, and Team Pacific, setting up a showdown in the gold medal match against the United States. In the final, Canada fell to the Americans 3-0, marking their 3rd consecutive silver at the World Challenge. Beijing 2022 Paralympic Nordic skier and longtime member of the women's para ice hockey team, Christina Picton, was named Defensive MVP of the tournament. Sticking with hockey, Canadian Blind Hockey hosts the 2024 Eastern Regional Blind Hockey Tournament in Mississauga, Ontario this weekend. This is a part of the Cruisers Cup para ice hockey tournament, which features teams from across Canada and the United States, and has grown from the original 20 teams to over 40. Switching to the beautiful game, Canada's men's 7-a-side para soccer team is preparing to take the pitch at the 2024 International Cerebral Palsy World Cup in Spain. Placed in a group with Brazil, England, and Japan, the Canadian team aims to play spoilers as they gear up for the World Cup. Check in to PSN to see how Canada fares. And that's our PSN update.
That was great, Nathan. Thank you so much for that. And unfortunately, that means this is the end of our first show. It's the first of many to come. Thank you so much for being along for the ride for this. And thank you at home, Parasport Nation, for tuning in. Until next time, I'm Alex Smyth.
Thanks for tuning in to Parasport Nation. Like and subscribe to the channel to follow us now.